Am I the jerk for celebrating New Year's Eve with my friends instead of my family? It all started when I shared my New Year's plans with my coworkers. When I mentioned I was planning to spend the holiday with friends, my boss, Mr. Harrison, suddenly asked, "Don't you think your family might feel hurt?" At the time, I didn't give it much thought. It's just one evening, after all. But the closer the holiday got, the more his words stuck with me. My name is Jake. I'm 27, and I'm from a small town in Colorado. I moved to Boston for work and try to stay connected with my family as much as I can. Weekly calls, shared holidays, quick visits. But New Year's has always been something special. As a kid, we spent it at my grandparents' house with tons of food, fireworks, and family games. Growing up, I tried not to miss it, even when I was busy with school or work. This year, however, was different. My best friend Zach invited me to spend New Year's Eve with our old college crew. He said many were coming from other cities just for this, and it would be a great chance to relive the good old days. The party was planned at a rented lake house. I loved the idea but knew my family might not. At first, my mom took it calmly. "You're an adult, Jake. Do what feels right." But I could hear a hint of disappointment in her voice. A few days later, she called again. "You know, your dad would really like you to come. Aunt Linda is making her famous pie. We'll all miss you." It was tough. I felt like I was either letting down my friends or disappointing my family. Then my sister Emily called. "Are you seriously spending New Year's with Zach and his constant drinking? Do you even realize how this looks?" That hit a nerve. Zach has been my friend since college, and while he can be reckless, he's always been there for me. Emily, on the other hand, has always acted like the older sibling who knows best. I wavered before finally making up my mind. I called Zach and confirmed my plans. That was a week before New Year's, and that's when everything started falling apart. When I told my family I wasn't coming, there was silence on the line. "All right," my mom said. "We'll understand." But I knew she didn't. Then just 3 days before New Year's, Emily started sending me long messages. She claimed Mom cried after our call. "You know how much it means to her to have everyone together for the holidays," she wrote. My guilt kept growing. I noticed every conversation with my family left me feeling worse. But I decided to stick to my plans. I think that's why I made the fatal mistake, not blocking Emily on social media. The day after her last message, I saw her post. Some people don't understand that family is more than just a word. And you know what happened next? My mom liked it. After Emily's post, I felt terrible. It was clear my family had decided to guilt trip me. Still, I tried to stand my ground. This is my choice. I kept telling myself, I'm 27. It's time to live my own life. That evening, I called Zach to discuss the trip details. He was ecstatic, going on about how they'd already stocked up on food and drinks and even hired a DJ. Everything sounded perfect, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being pulled in different directions. The next day, I received a handwritten letter from my grandma. It was so unexpected that I read it immediately. In the letter, she wrote how much she had been looking forward to our New Year's gathering and how sorry she was that I chose to stay in Boston. She even added something like, "We all understand you're an adult now, but holidays are meant for family. Who knows how many more of these evenings we'll have." Her words hit me deeply. I sat in the kitchen holding the letter, trying to figure out if I was being too selfish. The real drama began the next day. Emily decided to take things up a notch by sending me a nearly 10-minute voice message. In it, she talked about how hard it would be for our parents without me, how hurt Grandma was, and even added, "Jake, if you could see how much Mom is crying, you wouldn't be able to go through with this." I didn't know how to respond. I just wrote shortly, "I've already made my decision. Sorry." That should have been the end of it. But of course, it wasn't. That evening, my dad called. He rarely gets involved in these kinds of discussions, but this time he was clearly concerned. "Son, I'm not trying to pressure you," he began, "but I just don't understand why you decided to do this. We've always had such a good relationship." After that conversation, I felt awful, like I was making a huge mistake. Yet, every time I hung up the phone, another voice in my head would tell me, "You deserve time for yourself. You don't always have to adjust for others." When the day of the party came, I was completely torn. I packed my things, but thoughts of the letter and my dad's call wouldn't leave me alone. At the station, I realized I couldn't just leave like that. I called Zach and told him I'd be late. He brushed it off. "Dude, get here whenever. You know we'll be partying till morning." Instead, I walked into the nearest coffee shop and sat down to think everything over. So there I was sipping coffee while my phone blew up with notifications. In the family group chat, Emily had posted a picture of our Christmas tree with the caption, "Too bad someone's going to miss this." Sitting in the coffee shop with my cup of coffee, I realized that sooner or later I'd have to decide where to go. To the station, to Zach and the friends, or back home to my family. I scrolled through the family chat once more. Under the photo of the Christmas tree, Mom had left a like, and Grandma had added a sad emoji. My thoughts were interrupted by a call from Maddie, another college friend who was also going to the party. "Are you on your way?" she asked cheerfully. I replied that I was still deciding and tried to change the subject to avoid diving into my doubts. But Maddie was too perceptive. "Jake, what's going on? You should already be on the road. Zach's putting so much effort into making this perfect, but it sounds like you don't even want to go." That conversation left me completely thrown off. I realized that as I sat there debating, both sides were starting to sense something was wrong. Trying to clear my mind, I decided to take a walk. People rushed about with gift bags, and seeing them only made me feel worse. Suddenly, I noticed a family of 4 chatting happily by a street Christmas tree. Their laughter reminded me of our family holidays when I was a kid. Memories started to overwhelm me. I remembered how Mom always searched for the prettiest decorations, how Grandma patiently taught me to make her famous pie, and how Dad worked so hard to make our holidays special, even when money was tight. I realized I was afraid to admit something simple. I wasn't just torn between 2 choices, I was scared. Scared that if I chose friends, I'd drift away from my family. Scared that if I chose family, I'd miss out on moments with friends I might not see for years. I found a new message from Zach on my phone. He wrote, "Dude, are you okay? If something's wrong, just tell me. We're waiting for you." His words hit me hard. Zach rarely got this serious, and I realized that if I didn't go, I'd let down not only my family but my friends too. I closed my eyes and tried to imagine myself at the family gathering. Mom smiling, Grandma with her pie, Emily grumbling about everything. Then I imagined the party. Zach with a beer in hand, Maddie laughing, loud music, the lake in the distance. And suddenly, it hit me. All this time I'd been trying to please everyone, but that's impossible. Someone would be disappointed no matter what. Grabbing my phone, I started to text Zach to say I was coming, but I stopped. My gaze shifted to the family chat that was still open on my phone. Emily's words and Mom's likes floated through my mind, making me question what I truly wanted. And, to my surprise, I realized I wanted to be at the party. Not because I didn't care about my family, but because I needed those moments with friends where I could laugh and just be myself. I didn't write in the family chat. They'd already drawn their conclusions, and I didn't want to make things worse. Instead, I texted Zach, "I'm coming. I'll be there in a couple of hours." Zach replied almost instantly, "Awesome. We're waiting for you, man." That message brought a sense of relief I hadn't felt in days. I quickly headed to the station. On the way, I thought about how my family was probably disappointed, but New Year's isn't just about family. It's about being where you truly want to be. When I arrived at the house where the party was taking place, Maddie opened the door with a big smile. "Finally, we thought you'd changed your mind." Zach was already in his element, playing music, pouring drinks, and hosting like a pro. All the friends I hadn't seen for years were gathered in one room. Laughter, toasts, and memories of the past. It was perfect. At first, I tried not to think about my family, but it was hard. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had let them down, imagining Mom looking at the clock and feeling sad. But with every toast and every laugh, that feeling started to fade. Midnight struck, and we all went outside by the lake to set off fireworks. Zach popped a bottle of champagne, and we celebrated under the flashes of light. In that moment, I finally felt like I'd made the right choice. I was exactly where I wanted to be. Later, closer to morning, I sat on the porch with Maddie, wrapped in blankets with glasses of champagne. She looked at me and said, "You've been so thoughtful tonight. Still thinking about your family?" I nodded. "Yeah, I can't shake the feeling that I hurt them, but I don't regret coming here." She smiled. "Listen, you're an adult. You can't live your life constantly trying to please everyone. Your family loves you, but you're allowed to have your own desires. Otherwise, it's not really living." Her words might have seemed simple, but they lifted a weight off my shoulders. I realized New Year's isn't about trying to make everyone happy. It's about spending time with the people who bring you joy. By the next day, as everyone started heading home, I wrote in the family chat, "Happy New Year. I hope you had a great evening. I miss you and promise to visit soon." There was no response at first. Hours later, Grandma wrote, "We love you, Jake. We'll always be here for you." I know my choice might have hurt them, but I also know I did what I needed to do for myself. So, am I the jerk for this? Or am I just a person trying to choose their own happiness? What do you think? Share your opinion in comments. I'd love to know how you would have handled it.